Well, hey everybody, it's 3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. Joe Clark is joining me today, and oh my gosh, she is waving, and at the time that she's waving, you're seeing her. She is down under. She is joining us today from from Australia. I'm going to start a civil war over in those continents here. I keep making this confusion, but Joe is joining us today from Australia. It is what time there, Joe?
It has just gone past 8 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my God.
Friday morning, so we're actually ahead.
Right? Friday morning, and it is winter time there, correct?
It is. That's correct. It's mid-July for us is usually a very, very cold time of year, but it's beautiful here today. It's like a late spring morning, which is just wonderful.
And you know what's kind of crazy to me? I always Cynthia's here and Tawny Bennett is here. Lisa Dell is here. Cynthia Berman says hello. Lisa Dell says hello. So already people are finding us, and I'm sure they have plenty of questions. Do you want to just take that camera and just show you and your husband live on 32 acres? Look at that. Oh my gosh.
It's quite a beautiful spot.
Oh, and you have a pool. I haven't seen the pool.
We have a pool, yes.
First time. Oh my gosh. And so are you smack dab in the middle of those 32 acres, and do you see other people?
This will probably blow you away. This is the smallest place my husband and I have lived. We were on a 60,000 acre rural remote. It was a very remote property in southwest Queensland. That's where we had a lot of sheep and cattle that we grazed there. And then we moved to 300 acres a number of years ago, and we moved here almost 3 years ago now. And this is our smallest parcel of land. So for us, we can't see our neighbours, but they are close by. So we've got the best of both worlds. We've got the best of both worlds. That's right. So we're in privacy, but they're lovely and close.
And it's absolutely beautiful. Let me ask you a question. So let's talk about the Christmas holidays. And hey, Frank Solly is here joining us.
Frank.
And he is just an avid, he never misses a day. He's great.
Oh, well done to you, Frank.
Yeah, he's an over-the-road driver, and he's a chef, and
fabulous.
We never know what city he is. So, and Teresa is here from Reno, Nevada. So, and I have no idea where Frank is right now. So Frank, maybe you should type where you are in the world. And everybody else, we're from Fallbrook, California. Lisa's in Henderson, Nevada. So we've got the Southwest pretty much.
That's lovely. That is lovely.
So let's talk about the Christmas holidays down under, because, you turn on It's a Wonderful Life. You turn on all of those great, Christmas movies, and the snow is coming down, but that is smack dab in the middle of your summer, right?
That's right. It's a parallel universe. So Christmas time in Australia is usually hot. Where I used to live, it would get into, probably 110s, 115, like a very hot Fahrenheit.
That's what we
have. My husband would always want a traditional, because it was tradition in his family, so therefore it was passed down, and the baton was handed to me. So whenever we used to host a family Christmas, it would have to be a cooked lunch. So the turkey, the ham, everything else, and it was so darn hot. You can imagine, even with the air conditioning pumping, to cook all of this hot meal and sit down to the So normally what happens in Australia in my family is that we'd always have cold meat, salads, and and lots of seafood. You would eat probably to the actual season.
To our July, it's kind of like our July 4th barbecue time. You just kind of
correct. That's what I would imagine. Yes, but it's almost like a parallel universe when you turn on the television and you see scenes from all around the world of the cold, snowing. You see the traditional movies, like you said, and there's full of snow, and you go, oh my God, we're sitting here and jumping in the pool and going to the beach, and whereas you couldn't imagine what that would be like either.
I think the first time I heard that it was opposite seasons below the equator than what we have above the equator, I just could not get my head around it. Of course, I mean, I was young, but still, and it's still to this day, I'm like, how do they do it? It just doesn't feel like the holidays, around that time. But interestingly enough, one year we were on a cruise for the holidays, and we were in the Caribbean, and we landed on St. Martin on Christmas Eve. And so everybody was on the beach in their bathing suits, and the palm trees all had lights,
Oh, beautiful.
and Santa Claus came riding a jet ski along the beach. You know, it was really fun. It was funny.
Perfect,
I
perfect.
think about that. Oh my goodness, Frank is in Miami, Florida. He's a long way from home.
Okay.
There you go.
I will confess right now, I'm quite ignorant to where various places in the States are. I've got a general idea of a lot of things, but if you say it's a long way away.
Oh yeah, it's all the way on the East Coast, and we're all the way on the West Coast. So he's driving that truck, delivering goods.
Good on you, Frank. Well done.
And Alan Porton is here, so nice to have Alan.
He's that's great.
New to us. So let's talk about Joe Clark, my favorite topic. Oh, yeah, there you go. So Joe, you call yourself a woman's transformational coach, and you recently, just 1 year ago, actually, just this last weekend, actually quit your 40-year, was it a 40-year teaching career?
32 years of teaching.
Long enough, yeah.
Long enough. More than long.
And you did it, Elisa says it's 3,000 miles away is where he is.
Oh, wow, that is a long way away.
And you did it, why? Why did you quit?
Well, teaching for me was always a passion. I loved being in the classroom. I loved transforming little minds. I'd had a wonderful career. I'd been a principal. I'd always taught for a number of years. I was a leading senior teacher, so I was able to help a lot of other teachers with their career and start their career. But my passion was working with little people and in the area of gifted education. And then I started to do a lot of work in the area of positive psychology. And for me, that was a game changer, because I started then to see it's just raining here. I'm not sure if you can see or hear. Yeah, there you go. The sun will be shining again shortly. So I just loved working with
steam bath at 110 degrees here. So we're very.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, enjoy. The palms are just starting to move.
I took you all down under just to cool you off a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I started to work in the area of positive psychology, and just love that. So I was looking at meditation, mindfulness, practicing gratitude, just to change, to start that with children's lives. That really lit me up. But sadly, the machinations of what the education was starting to become from the departments that created was really probably totally against my beliefs as a teacher and how education should be looking and how we should be teaching. So for a number of years, I was finding that teaching wasn't giving me joy. In fact, it was starting to instill a lot of dread going to work, because as much as I loved the children, I just wasn't enjoying the system. And I decided I could either keep on putting up with that for the remainder of my working life, or I could do something about it. And I decided to do something about it. And so 12 months ago, it was layer upon layer upon layer. And one little thing added to that layer was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I went, I'm just not willing to put up with this anymore, because I know it's affecting me personally. I know, because I'm filled with dread, it's not good for my health. And I know it's not good for, you need to be in a certain state of mind in order to do the best job. And I know that if I remained in this state of mind, it would only probably worsen, and it would make myself unwell, and it'd be difficult for those around me. So I decided to take that big, brave, bold step and go, no, I need to do something different. And I'd always had something in the back of my mind. Perhaps I could work in this area of health and wellness with the younger families and change, because, with all of the difficulties with learning at home and COVID and the lockdowns, people's mental health wasn't all that great. And then they would have the difficulties with not being able to exercise and nutrition. I knew how much that was important for young growing bodies. So I thought, well, maybe I could create a business around that. And so that's how it started.
And you have.
I have. So initially I was going to be working with younger families, but as I was chatting with you earlier, Marla, I found that perhaps the younger demographic wasn't really coming to me like I thought it was going to be. It was women who were my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older. And I could see that is what, a lot of them were facing what I was facing, where you go, middle of my life now, I know I've got a lot of years ahead of me. Things need to change. If I want to lead a happy and healthy life in the future, then I need to make sure that I can do something about it. So I went around, what could I do in order to help women move through that process.
Yeah, and that's been my experience, is that I think all of us don't want to stretch too far. In other words, like somebody who's in there, who's 25 years old right now, is not going to stretch. This is what just comes to mind right now. I don't know why, but they're not going to stretch all the way to Dr. Ruth. You probably don't even know who Dr. Ruth is, but she just comes to mind. I don't know why, but she is like probably in her late 80s, early 90s, and just hit like the American talk show circuit in her 70s, and she's a sexual I don't even know what to call her, but she like does sex therapy with couples. And so here was this little.
I have heard of Dr. Ruth. Yes.
So she's like, 4'11" or 4'10", I understand. And she's a Holocaust survivor, believe it or not. And she came to America after the war and started studying, and this is her field. And she took on a huge phenomena. And so everybody, no matter what generation they were following her when she became this media sensation. But today, and her information is just as good today as it was 20, 30 years ago, but nobody 25 is going to be able to relate to an 80-year-old talking to them about, their sex lives,
That's right.
Unless she becomes a media sensation once again. And that doesn't usually happen twice. So with that, I just want to say hello to Jim Benvenuti, who wanted you to know he's coming to us from New Mexico, watching from New Mexico. Nancy Schlink is coming to us from Missouri, I'm pretty sure. And Christina Foley is coming from down the street and around the corner. So, so welcome to everybody. So let's talk about, there's 6 things that you and I identified as something that helps people move through a very big dramatic change in their lives, like what you just went through. So you recently, 12 months ago, just said, that's it. I'm teaching for 32 years. I'm moving on to a new stage of life. And I know that there had to be a great deal of fear, while at the same time, a great deal of trust in order to be able to take that leap. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you, Marla. As you said, there is a process that you do go through. I really do believe in listening to that inner voice. And for me, that inner voice over a period of time was telling me it's time to do something different. So I probably started the word journey gets overused, but I started my own health and wellness journey probably when I turned 40. I'm 50, currently 53. And I started to think and look down the track, what was my life going to be looking like as I was aging? Because I had my mum, who was not in great health. She was unfortunately somebody who had a number of health complications. And what happens with so many people is that one complication, and treating one complication then leads to another complication and another and another. So for my mum, I constantly had her as a vision of what, love her to death, a vision of what I didn't want my old age to look like. So what could I do to make sure that I was doing everything I possibly could for me to lead the healthiest life possible as I age? Because we can age older, but you don't want to be older and have multiple health issues as well. So I started to look at the area of nutrition. I started to look at what can I feed my body. I was looking at exercise. What sort of exercise can I start to do to make myself healthy, fitter, stronger? I was also looking at sleep and rest and knowing the importance of getting a good sleep for a body so it could rest and recuperate. I was looking at stress reducers. What sort of things could I do to reduce the stresses in my life? So introducing different practices to reduce that stress. Then I was also looking at hormones, given that women go through so many hormone fluctuations and the massive impact that makes. So what could I do to help my body through that process leading up to the perimenopausal years, and then the menopausal years. Then I was also looking at purpose and connection, because that's also something else that's really important to have as you get older, to have a sense of purpose and the connection to those around you.
And so what is your suggestion when people are leaving? A lot of our audience really are leaving jobs that they've been at for 30 years. And even some of our younger viewers who've been at jobs that, you know, with COVID, they've had transition in from working one way to working in another way. And I think that what surrounds the strength and the courage to jump forward into something brand new is understanding purpose. What is your purpose? The ability to be able to go for that. What say you about helping someone find their purpose so they can move forward to something that is more enjoyable than what they have sadly done for the last 32 years?
That's right. Sometimes it may not mean that you leave a job or leave your career. Finding a sense of purpose does not mean that you're going to be the next multimillionaire and make a 7-figure business. Finding purpose, I think it's becoming quiet. And for me, the moment I started to quieten my mind and really sit with my thoughts, it started to lead me down a path, because innately, you know.
Right.
For me, to get that quietness came in the form of meditation. I meditate twice a day for 30 minutes. It used to be 20 minutes, but now I meditate for 30 minutes twice a day. And that stillness was something that enabled me to get all that mental clutter out and to really hone in and focus what was important for me.
Do you do a particular form of meditation? Do you do transcendental meditation? Do you follow an app? What do you do for meditation?
First of all, I started without anything. This is going back years ago when I was first dabbling, and it was trying to sit and just follow my breath. And for me, I went, oh, this isn't working, because my mind is, you know how people say, I can't meditate because I've got too many thoughts. Well, meditation was, it was a topic you could discuss, but it probably wasn't one of those topics that was as heavily known as it is today. And I thought that was the only form of meditation. I went, I can't do that because my mind's too busy. I tried, yeah, it didn't work. Then there was an app that I used, and I did a lot of meditation using that particular app with the children in my class as well. It's actually an Australian app called Smiling Minds.
Oh.
And there are so many apps that I can help any of your followers with and make suggestions.
I just want to say that I was trained in transcendental meditation in 1994. So, but I stopped doing it like in 1995. So, but
have you taken that up again?
I have, and I'll tell you what's been helpful to me, and this has been going on since March of 2019. So, so for 2 years now. Yes. I have been using the Insight Timer app. And so even though transcendental meditation does not suggest that you use any, mind focusing noise or ocean waves or rain, or that you just sit quietly, it helps me. I like it. I like the sound of rain because we get so little of it here in the desert. So that's what I always choose to have on when I'm meditating through Insight Timer. But because I'm really competitive with myself, like right now, I have done 50 this morning or yesterday morning, 50 consecutive days of meditation. And last summer I had done 120 consecutive days. And then I had this crazy day and I completely forgot about it. And the next morning when I got up to meditate and I meditated, it said 1 consecutive day. And I went, what? No. I was like, no. And then I thought about it and thought, oh my gosh, I missed yesterday. I was at 120 consecutive days. But altogether, I think I have had in the last 2.5 years, I think I've had something like 580 days or something like that.
That's brilliant.
With the most consecutive 120. And then Mother's Day comes and I'm all busy on Mother's Day. And then I wake up the next morning and go, oh, I got to restart it today. So,
It is an incredibly powerful tool. It really is. And once, a number of years ago, again, I then learned Vedic meditation. And Vedic meditation, transcendental meditation is an offshoot of Vedic meditation.
Oh, it is.
Without the spiritual background. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi brought that to the West, and he was Yeah.
Right. And, you know, I will say that when I started back, it was very, very difficult. I'm telling you, it was
Did
so.
you not go back to your teacher? Because
No,
you've got that
no,
ability to go
because
back
there's a
to
long
any
story. There's a long story about that that is absolutely hysterical, but we don't have time for that. But maybe one day when we're chatting, not on the air from Vegas in Australia, I'll tell you
Yes.
that. But when I went back, I actually had built a meditation room. I have a little small meditation room in the house. But I built it before I actually started meditating again. But like I do things like that to force myself. You can't spend that kind of money if you're not going to use it. And so I went up and sat down to meditate. And if I made it through 3 minutes, it was like I just wanted to explode and climb the walls. But I said to myself, Marla, let's just do 3 minutes. Just do 3 minutes until you can do 5. And let's just do 5 minutes until you can do 7. And then it was, let's just do 7. Like when the bell rang and it was over, I'm like, oh, that went fast. Instead of, oh, that was the longest 5 minutes of my life. And then same when I got to 7, I was like, oh, I don't think I can ever do 7. And then, oh, it was over. And then I pushed it all the way to the Transcendental Meditation 20-minute mark. And when I got to 20 minutes and the bell rang for the completion, I was like, wow, like that went so fast. And where was I? And, you know, because the I that is me, it just kind of goes up and out there. And then it kind of comes back, and all the things that you find out there are pretty spectacular, which sounds really woo-hoo, but you know, you have these incredibly inspirational thoughts. And I can tell you, I would not be sitting here right now without, I mean, who was I to go on Facebook every day and do a cooking show? But I got challenged, and the courage was an inspiration through meditation. And so here I am.
Oh,
So
that's a brilliant story.
I suggest it for everybody. Here I
Likewise.
mountain hives all over. I have no idea why, but anyway.
It's so good for your body. Like spiritually, it's amazing. Mentally, it's incredible. Physically, the neurochemicals that get released, it is huge. So there's lots of benefits. So that's one of the things that helped me find my purpose, and clearly helped you on your path, and for you to find your purpose as well, Marla. So that's it is never too late. That's the biggest message. Every day is a new day for a new beginning. And you know, you're in your 60s, I'm in my 50s. For a lot of people who would go, I'm too old, because I may be that age, or I may be a bit older, or maybe a bit younger, I couldn't possibly do it. That's not the case at all. Not the case at all.
And in fact, can I just tell you, there was a very famous, I want to say hi to Caitlin Culpert, who was never too late.
Hi, Caitlin.
She was never too late.
Not at all.
I was looking back through my 50-year class reunion is going to be in October. And I was looking through the webpage on my high school class, and our class motto was, and this was like a big buzz phrase that like was a big, hippie peace 60s thing that kind of blew up. And I forgot that it had kind of blown up the year that I graduated high school. And the phrase was, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Well, we all say it now, but that phrase, like somebody coined that phrase the year that I graduated high school, and it was so big, we called that our class motto. Brilliant. And, I went back and looked at that and said, it's so true. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So what are you going to do? Don't worry about what you did yesterday, and do not worry about what you're doing tomorrow. Just do today to the best of your ability.
No, that is so true, and it's very prophetic when you think about back 50 years ago, it was still true, and another 50 years it will still be true. That's there's no use, and I've found as well, there's no use for me to sit back and complain if I was going to keep things the same way. If I was going to keep things the way that they were always in the past, then my future is going to look the same. So you really have to take that brave, bold move and to make those steps forward. And they don't have to be big steps. One step in the right in a different direction can take you to a completely different destination, completely. So you can just make that one step after the other. It's that whole, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. So start small. And those little steps over time, they add up. They add up. It's very easy to say, oh, you know, I couldn't do it, but you know what, you can. And sometimes that, just having that cheerleader behind you to say, you can do it. It is, you're capable.
Judy Wood says that she meditates with Deepak Chopra, which a lot of people do. Arlene Blute is here. Thank you to Arlene for joining us. Joanne Balasari. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Thanks, Joan.
Here. I like that. So how did you know you would hit on your purpose at the time that you were ready to, like, how does one know that they really, they know what they want to do after a 30-year career, and they're free to choose anything they want? What is the one thing that you would say to them is the key to knowing how you've hit on it, or when you've hit on it?
How I personally hit on it?
Well,
it was just that changing that direction slightly, trying it. Did it feel comfortable for me? Because what could be comfortable for somebody else may not be comfortable for me. So you always have to judge yourself with yourself, your best self. So am I being my best self? Am I comfortable in this? Yes, no. If it was yes, I'd keep going and try something. If it was a no, and for me personally, again, because I listen to my intuition quite a lot, for me, if it was a no, then I would stop doing that and try something else. And step by step by step, you know, you start to fit in. And
is that it? I mean, if you were to break it down, and so like
for me, it might be different for you, Marla. For me, finding it can be, again, something different. It's changing.
Well, my question is, when you're coaching others, right?
Yes.
Because you're a transformational coach.
Yes.
What do you prescribe to those who are, and I really feel like I just heard you say it, is to like just try one new thing, and if it feels good, just do the next thing. And if it doesn't feel good, then step back and then try the next thing. Whatever you're feeling, and I think it's a feeling, not thinking, right? Whatever you're feeling.
It is thinking, because what happens is that your brain, you don't have the emotion. The emotion happens microseconds after a thought, and that will lead you to certain behaviors, certain actions. So the whole thing is that, firstly, awareness of your thoughts. What are you telling yourself? We are our worst critic. That voice, if you say you can't hear a voice, you've just said it. Like if you've said that thought, you've got a voice in your head. I can't do this. I'm too old. It's too hard. Whatever it might be. I don't know my purpose. That is that voice. So you've got to capture those nasty, mean, little biatch that's sitting in your ear all the whole time, just saying these whole things. And often 95% of our thoughts run in our subconscious. It just happens automatically. We just do things on autopilot the whole time. So being aware, listen to them, and then start to really break it down and start to refute those thoughts. Is that true? Because usually, you could almost say 99.9% of the time, those thoughts aren't true. That's happened from a story that you heard a long time ago, and you just created that.
Our thoughts aren't real. They're just not real. Just because
that's right. Just because you say it doesn't mean it's true, or just because you think it does not mean it's true.
And if people are crazy out there, that's really not a true thought. It's not real. That's just a manufactured thought,
Correct.
or nobody's ever going to call me back on my sales call. Well, no, that is not real. That's just a thought.
That's right. We create all of these scenarios in our head about what could possibly. And again, you've got to think about, we don't know what's happening in the future. We have got the present right now. So what thought is going to serve you right now? In
the best way now. And so that moves us right into courage. I mean, if you're going to start with all of this, if you're going to start transforming, it is, I mean, we're all out there holding each other's hands. This is how I found Joe in Australia.
Right.
And Joe and I were in a group together, an online group where we met and have stayed friendly. And this was over almost a year ago that we did. And so you find courage in working with, like minds think alike. Wouldn't you say, Joe?
I think so, Marla. Like for me, on a professional level, like I can talk to you and know that you and I have got very similar ideas about things, because I think you start to develop your own, it's self-development. We're always a work in progress. Nothing has finished. So I don't get to a stage, Marla, and go, that's it, I'm here. There is always something that you can work on, because you reach that new level and it's almost like new level, new devil. So you think about, well, what's stopping me now? So what sort of thoughts have I got coming in my ear right now telling me that I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or that, you know, I've got a critic telling me something. And you start to work on that layer, and then you move to that next level. So it never finishes. And that's the joy and the beauty of life, is that there is so much that's available to us, but we often close those doors. It is taking that courage just to open that little bit and put that foot through. And you'd be surprised if you can, and again, if you can find somebody to help you with that, whether it be a good friend of yours, whether it be a group, a lovely group like you've created, Marla, whether it be a coach to help you through things, having that accountability to help you implement really makes a big difference. It's tough trying to do it on your own. Can you do it? Absolutely you can. But you speed through the process much faster when you've got support around you. So I'm sure all of the lovely people who are online now, and I'm sadly I can't see any of you, just the mere fact that you've got Marla as a cheerleader, and you've probably formed some lovely, beautiful relationships within the group that you've created, so you can support each other. You know what's happening. You know where everybody is. So that's a beautiful part to have. If you know that you've got that group behind you, take that little step of courage. And
well, I think that truly when it comes to the group that's here every day at Nanny Bubby, and then in the Gather with Nanny Bubby Facebook group, I think honestly and truly, everybody's really there for each other. Like somebody comes on and says, oh my gosh, I made this, this great dessert for my husband and my anniversary. And Teresa Anderson is an example. Her husband is a very picky eater. And, you know, she'll say, oh my gosh, I made that recipe for my husband and he actually ate it, and everybody's applauding. And and Teresa is Italian, but she married a guy named Anderson, who clearly is anything but Italian. So she calls it the Andersoni household, which I thought was hilarious. I've stopped laughing about that since she, you know, put it. But everybody is, I'm just loving the fact, because, you know, I love people so much. I'm just loving the fact that in the group, that we have almost 400 members now, that everybody are in there just posting their recipes, or saying, oh my gosh, like I have to make something for dinner, and, you know, but all I have in the house is XYZ. What would you make with that? And people will post, you know, the answer. Everybody coming to each other's rescue, if you will. So not that anybody needs to be rescued, because we don't have that kind of a group, but but you know, it's been lovely to see. And you know, I think that when we have people like that, I feel like a chimpanzee itching all. I'm breaking out in hives, everybody. I have no idea why, and they itch. So you know, I got me going like this all day here. I don't know what's going on here. But I think that what you have is faith. I mean, you know, to be able to truly trust with confidence beyond reason that this thing that feels good really is for you. And those words, trust with confidence beyond reason, you've just got to do it. You just have to do it, and just let go and if it was a wrong mistake, you know, wrong step, okay, you're not going to die from taking it, you know, just take a different step till it feels good. So
that's right. Not every place where you, or not every decision you make is going to be the right one. And it's having, again, knowing that it's not the right one, and doing something about it. And what's great for you now may not be working for you in a couple of years' time. So then what are you going to do about it? It's a whole lot of self-responsibility, that whole sense that, you know, you are capable. You've got that within you. Every single one of us has. And I think sometimes you do lose that confidence. And so having that connection, and that's one of my pillars, you know, having that purpose and connection, that can really help you to have the strength to make a different direction. Right. You know, take that different direction. So yeah, wise words, Marla, that you were saying.
Oh, thank you. And also Stacy Hackett is here and she's from Bonsall, California. And I've actually never heard of it from California, but they've got so many little places there.
Yeah.
And last of all, you've talked about looking after yourself, you know, taking that time for yourself. And then I wrote something else down there, which I can't, inner voice, which we did talk already about the inner voice. But so when you have like a routine that you suggest for women and men who are trying to move forward in their lives, what do you suggest that they do for self-care?
The self-care is really important, because some people think self-care is selfish, but you know, that whole you can't pour from an empty cup, you know, the oxygen mask on for yourself first. There's a lot of wisdom in that. Set your morning up. If you start your morning right, then you're going to start your day in that and put you in the right direction. And over time, that is going to become a really incredibly powerful practice. Again, it's that's you know, layer upon layer upon layer that I was talking about earlier. So I would suggest to have some quiet time. And again, some people don't have a huge amount of time. Totally get that. People have very busy schedules, but again, they use that as an excuse. So if you think about, we have 72 blocks of 20 minutes in a day, which then means 144 blocks of 10 minutes in a day. And I'm sure you could find 10 minutes, a block here, a block there, but if you can find at least 10 minutes at the start of the day, and just dedicate that time to yourself and think about something that you know you are going to enjoy. Perhaps it is just sitting with a cup of tea in a quiet part of the house, getting up earlier. Maybe it's 10 minutes earlier before, you know, the madness of the household starts. But gift that time to yourself. Have something where you might be a cup of tea or a cup of coffee of a morning. It could be reading a chapter of a book. It might be practicing gratitude. Gratitude is an incredibly powerful practice. You know, think of 3 things that you're grateful for the day and jot those down. It could be meditation or prayer, depending if you've got a practice that you like to follow. Podcast, listen to a podcast. It could be adding movement to it. Start with 1 or 2 small things. If you try to have a massive schedule in your morning routine, then there's a high likelihood that it's not going to last, because we are creatures of habit. But if we give ourselves a long list, our brain's going to eventually tell us it's too hard to do. So start with 1 or 2 things, and then over time add.
I always think every night I'm going to take a long, luxurious hot bath. That just sounds so, that bubble bath sounds so amazing to me. But the fact is, every night that I promise myself I'm going to do it, I never do it, because it's actually a lot of work. It's a lot
Schedule it in, Marla. Write it down, and you know what? You're worth it. So even if you know you're not going to get that goal every night of the week, say, right. Yeah, I've actually started that. Sunday is my bath night. So I get my candles and I put the bath salts in and have my book ready. I have some great music in the background, and I love that time now.
Do you? It's just that sometimes I'm so tired. The whole thought of going through all that is like,
then prepare a lot of it beforehand.
Get in bed right now. You know?
But you know what? That's a thought again. That's your thought. Oh, I am so tired. So the moment you say I am, you will be.
You will be, for sure. You're sure. Well, I thank you so much, Joe, for being here and for taking the time, for getting up so early in the morning. You had no self-care this morning because of everything.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, just show us. I know it's really, really cloudy. I heard birds in the background. Just kind of turn a little bit and show everybody. Oh my gosh. Like, we all just have to look at that view. It's just chilling me down. Isn't that? Yeah. Judy Wood says, thank you, Joe. And
you're very welcome.
In there. Thank you. I do, if you don't mind just hanging with me a minute, Joe, I want to make a couple of announcements to everybody. So I wasn't here yesterday because I had no idea last July, when I booked this annual appointment, that I would be seeing all of you 5 days a week. I didn't even know who were, where you were going to be, or where I would be, but along came this appointment. And so thank you so much for allowing me to take that time off. There was nothing I could do about it. I did miss all of you. And today is my last day until tomorrow. My family and I are going on vacation up to Aspen, Colorado. We're going to be river rafting and fly fishing and going on a sunset dinner cruise, if you will, whatever that means. And we are so excited to be up in the mountain in the cool air. But I am literally going to take all of those who qualify to be in our summer barbecue tournament, who I've got a bowl of names, and I am going to come on live tomorrow at 3:00 just to pull the name of the winner. And whoever that is, you can't cook with me next week because I won't be here, but we will figure out a time together because Joe, what happens is in our tournament, whoever wins that week, then they come on with me the following week and cook. And so we'll miss next week, but we'll circle back for that. And then I'll be driving home next Friday, and I will pick the winner next Friday as well. So of that week. So that's what we're going to be doing, but I won't be on the air, but I probably and may pop on, everybody, just to maybe if I see something or take some pictures in Aspen that I think that all of you will love and enjoy, I will certainly pop them in together with Nanny Bubby into the Facebook group. And so I will be away. I thank you all so very much. Joe, thank you so much for letting us into the cool beauty of Queensland, Australia. And thank you for taking the time to inspire us and for help us transform, even for just a few minutes today, to be mindful of ourselves and everything else. And I thank you, my friend. And I do want to mention that, which I did not, is that Joe is starting a membership that she is working on because she has so many who are interested in her transformational coaching, and she's putting together a program. It is not yet ready. We jumped the gun just because I wanted to have her on so much, but as soon as it's ready, I will certainly, you'll let me know and I'll post and share.
Sure, thank you.
And all of our wonderful followers here, including Jody Silo, who just popped on just now.
Hi, Jody.
And so that'll be absolutely fantastic. So Joe,
if anybody wants to follow me, I am on Instagram at Joe Clark Coaching. I do have a private Facebook group called the Women's Wellness Collective. You can join there. And I do have a website, Joe Clark Coaching, and I have fortnightly emails where I'll have a whole lot of little hints, ideas for you, podcasts to listen to, books that I recommend, and just a little process. And I'm starting up a blog on my website as well. Because it's early days, and I think, Marla, you've probably found that you'd love things to be 2 years down the track and be that well established, but things are unfolding. But it's lovely if I've got people who are with me from the start, as you found, and they can be a part of that journey and help shape that journey. Oh, so yes, I do have a transformation coaching program where I work in a small group, online group, 10-week program. And then, as you mentioned, Marla, there is the membership that's coming up, which will be looking at the 6 pillars of health.
Is there a website they can find you now?
Yes, joeclarkcoaching.com.
There you go. And with that, Janet Castellano just joined us. So everybody's coming in and going
out. Lovely.
Everybody's here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
I don't know if you know this, Joe, but at the end of every episode, I always say, on the count of 3, we all say, go out and spread love like butter. Spread love like butter. So would you like to say it with me?
Beautiful.
Okay. Sure. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. There we go. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you, Marla.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day and enjoy that rain.
Will do. Lovely.
Bye, everybody.